guys, welcome back to another episode of Author Interviews with Jazz and Prose. I'm your host, Sai. Today we're here with the lovely Dr. Taylor for her book, Friendly Betrayal. How are you doing this evening, Dr. Taylor?
I'm doing great, Sai.
Good. So, you're here for your book, Friendly Betrayal. And I love to start with the cover. Okay. Because I do think it's important. And I think, people put meaning behind what they're putting on the cover. So tell us how you came up with the cover for Friendly Betrayal.
Okay, so the cover has a cityscape in the background, but if you look, it has three distinct buildings from three different cities because
All right.
that is where the book takes place in three different settings. So you see the Statue of Liberty, you see representing New York, um, and then you have the Superdome, and that's representing New Orleans. And then it also takes place in Washington, D.C. So you see the Washington, D.C. monument. And then it's just like a generic cityscape backdrop behind those three monuments. The character on the cover is the lead character in the novel, and that is Naomi Bloom. And my youngest daughter is my graphic designer, so she designed the cover for me.
Okay, I love that beautiful cover. I like the colors, the meaning with the monuments that you have there. And I had questions. I'm gonna save them though because we need you to introduce yourself first.
Okay.
So before we get into that, let us know, how did you come into the space of being a writer?
Well, writing has always been my means of communication growing up. I was a very quiet child, but if I needed to get like my true feelings out, I would write everything down. I wrote in journals. Just that was something that I did. I used to write poems, and that was just something comfortable for me, was to be able to write.
Right. Okay, so you've been doing it, the love of it since you were young.
Yes.
And with this book, so this is your first book, is it?
This is my, yes. Yes, this
Okay.
is the first book.
So what inspired you to actually publish and say, you know what, I want to share my art with the world?
I think the reason why I published it is because, you get like a story in your mind, and
Right.
the particular story, this character, it just never left my mind. And when I was able to actually write this entire story down, I thought it made sense. I thought it was really good. I let family members read it. Everybody liked it. So I said, okay, I'll go ahead and I'll publish it. I'll put it out there and see if it wasn't just family. Sometimes your family is a little biased. So
Okay.
I wanted to publish it, put it out there, and see what happens.
Okay. Because it takes courage. It does, to put your work out there. Yeah, you're being a little vulnerable, but congratulations for putting out there. And you have other books as well, right? So I know Friendly Betrayal, you said, is a suspense kind of mystery book. The other two, are they in the same genre or are they different?
Yes, they are. So after Friendly Betrayal, I couldn't let go of my lead character. I wanted to develop her further. So she is a detective, a new detective, and I carried her personal life and her career into the second book. And when I got the concept of my second book, which is titled Shattered Dreams, Um, Another concept came to me in the midst of writing Shattered Dreams. So I decided to create a detective series. So it is my Naomi Bloom detective collection.
I love that. And how, let's, because Naomi Bloom is so beautiful. How did you come up with that name?
Um, well, the name Naomi for me is significant because I like the actual character in the Bible. If the book of Ruth, and Naomi is the character.
Mm-hmm.
And that, because of that, I chose that name. But I think, I don't know where the last name Bloom, it just seemed to fit.
Okay, okay, I like that. Okay. Um, okay, so now let's back up a little bit. So Friendly Betrayal. Let's go ahead, give us the rundown of what the book is about for those out there who are interested in picking it up.
Okay, so um, like I said, so Friendly Betrayal starts. Naomi Bloom's character is, she's a former, starting out in the book, she's a DEA agent, and she is transitioning her career from a DEA agent to a private investigator. So you will see um, that career shift, and along with that, it's the beginning of like her first major case. So the book starts off in one place, and it shows you her migrating from place to place throughout the case. And some personal life is woven throughout. So you get to see her being vulnerable in her personal life. There is a romantic component in the book as well. But the title itself, Friendly Betrayal, a betrayal can't truly be a betrayal unless someone was your friend. So
Right.
that's where I came with that name. So you see the transition with different characters, and it's a play on the characters that are in there. So you don't know right off who's going to betray her.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, so Naomi is trying to help a stranger because she's a private investigator, get out of a situation that they find themselves thrown into. And then her personal life just comes crashing together with this case that she's investigating.
Okay, now this is interesting for me, guys, because y'all know I've been working on the book for a very long time. And one of my main characters, he's a private investigator, he's a detective. And for me, and I'm going to ask you about your characters in a second, because
Okay.
for me, when I wrote the book, and this is a book, ironically, it's right here, it was about this lady, okay, April. And in my head, when I did it, she was the main character, but she gets kidnapped. And so, but the book is about him, the detective, trying to find her. So I realized that we spend most of the time with him. So he ended up becoming actually my main character. So I kind of had to shift a little bit. So for you, when you came up with this book, did you already know that like you wanted to base it around the detective's point of view? Or is it, I don't know what point of view it is, but the detective as the main character, I guess.
I did when I first wrote it. And my daughter told me, I'm a kind of person that when I watch movies or television, I
Mm-hmm.
immediately figure out what's happening. And
Right.
so I try not to spoil it for other people.
Mm-hmm.
So when I
Yeah.
talk about the book, I try to be as generic
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
possible so that I don't
Right. Yeah.
be the one that
Spoil it.
spoils it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I get it. I get it. So your process though, when it comes to writing, because I am a person, I don't think I have it in here, but when I'm creating my characters, I have a whole like file for all of my characters so that I can build their background and all that kind of stuff. when you were creating your characters, are you the type of author that, you give them a backstory, their upbringing, even if that never presents itself in the manuscript?
So I like to develop them so that the reader knows about them. To just put a character in there and give it no context, I think that falls
Mm-hmm.
flat for a reader. So I like to, yes, give them a backstory, and give them not only the backstory, but you give them like what's going on currently, so
Mm-hmm.
they feel connected to the character. And
Right.
I like to go back and forth, not to just go completely straight through with the story. So I like to go back and forth so I can touch on this particular character or another character or flip it to a different scene so that you are it your mind isn't trying to figure something
Mm-hmm.
out. So that's the way I'm
Right.
thinking while I'm writing.
Right.
And I may have a particular scene and put it one place, but then as I go back and I read it again, it may fit somewhere else. So I'll take that whole scene and put it somewhere else because it'll flow better.
Okay. Okay. Do you use, I know I had posted, I don't know if we're in the same group on Facebook, Scrivener back in the day. A lot of people used to use that. I think I used like the free version when I started writing this book like back in 2012. But have you used Scrivener before?
I actually have never heard of
No.
that.
Oh, okay. So, because when you said that, that's like one of the things that a lot of people like about it is that it looks kind of like a bunch of virtual sticky notes of your chapters, and you can like move it,
Okay.
as you're writing. So, speaking of that, what is your method, your mode of writing? Do you do it on paper and pen first, your computer, your phone?
I think I do a bit of all of it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I could wake up and have a scene and I'll need to get it down. So it depends on
Mhm.
where I am. If it's my phone, put it in a note on the phone, um, put it in a composition book, or in my computer. And I like to, just because I don't know where the scene may go, I still want to capture it. So I will just put it and highlight it or make it a different color. So I know that that isn't a fixed scene. So I know
Mhm.
I'm going to play around with it to see where I actually want it to go.
Right. So which route did you go with publishing? Did you go the traditional or the self-published indie?
I attempted traditional when I first did Friendly Betrayal, but you get a lot of
Hmm.
rejection letters. And I thought about it. I said, well, I don't want to keep putting my work out there and then you don't know who has it. Your work is then
Yeah.
vulnerable. So I decided that I was going to
Hmm.
go the independent route and self-publish.
Okay, okay. Yeah, a lot of people, and I think nowadays, I mean, even when you're traditionally published, from what I hear from those who are, you still have to do a lot of the marketing yourself,
You
getting your
do.
followers and all that kind of stuff. So, I understand that completely. So, when you were writing the book, how long would you say the process took you from like start to finish?
Um, I'm going to say probably 6 months.
Okay, that's a good amount of time. That's. So I take that as, did you have a routine, or how did that work for you? Because some people they write 3 hours every day. Doesn't matter if they feel like it, or some people they have to be in the mood like me. So what route did you go for the 6 months?
Um, I think a bit of both because I mean life is life. So if you don't have
Mhm.
time to just sit and
Right,
commit to writing X amount of hours, um,
right.
for me I think it's a little bit forced if I like make myself sit down and try to write.
Mhm.
Um, the way my mind and imagination works, I can hold on to a particular thought
Right.
for a few days before I put it down on paper. So I'll be able to go back, replay that scene in my mind and get it down on paper, or on the computer. But
Mhm.
my more natural writing is just to write as it comes and not just make myself, okay, I'm gonna,
Mhm.
write today. I'm gonna write Thursday. I'm gonna
Mhm.
write, on Saturday. So it, I need to feel it.
Right. Right.
I
I know
need
what you're
to feel
saying.
it.
Yeah, I
Because
know. And
I've gone like a week and haven't, written anything.
mhm. Right.
But
Right.
some weeks it's like every night it's like, okay, it's just
Mhm.
like flowing. And so, okay, I'm there and I'm in the moment. And so I'm going to put everything down.
Right, right. Yeah. And that is, there's some authors who they do like they're like no excuses. I'm gonna do this every so often. And then there's on the other side of the coin, those like for me, it has to be divine intervention. There is, I'm not gonna lie though, I personally use that as an excuse to procrastinate sometimes, but my best writing comes when it hits me and I'm just like, okay, let me release this and go ahead and write it down. When it comes to your author's voice, like, all we read different books and you can tell like one author writes this way, another author writes that way in their writing. For you, are you the type of author who likes to incorporate literary devices on purpose, like how you said you like to do flashbacks, you like to not just go in a linear, you like to go back in time to let us know about their story? Do you intentionally do that, or do you just feel like you do it because it makes sense for how to tell your story? Or you're like, I'm going to include this in my story, I'm going to include similes and metaphors, and I like, do you intentionally do that, or do you just let it come out and whatever it falls into whatever category, that's what it is?
I think it depends on the character. If I can completely see the character,
Mhm,
then I can make everything I need about that character,
mhm,
get that written down. But if I have a character that I know is going to be significant and I want more information, or I want that character to be um, more prominent, because even though they may not be a main character, they're significant enough to have some more information about them. Because you may have a character in your book where they're only mentioned in 2 pages.
mhm.
So I don't need to give a backstory on them. I don't
Right.
need, not saying
Yeah.
that that character is insignificant, but if I'm not going to develop that character for maybe a future book,
Mhm.
then just in that moment, what I'm writing about them, I think it's enough.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that you know, when you mentioned, like you said, if they're only on 2 pages, and I'm a reading teacher as well, so I'm literally doing, we teach reading and writing now in 8th grade. But when I'm teaching the kids to analyze a story, I'm telling them like, well, the author decided to, mention them for some reason, because we could have left them out. But they served some type of purpose, whether it was to demonstrate something that we're trying to show the readers for another character, like the effect that, all that kind of stuff. So I totally get that. As far as like going into depth, do I need to give a backstory, or do they just need to, do this one thing to trigger the other person or whatever? So I get that. What would you say, since you are on book number 3, which I also, side note, love, and somebody mentioned, like I said, Detective Castillo in my book, I did not intend for him to become the main character when I came up with the idea. Um, but she was like, well, you can keep using him in different, books, to keep, like your series, how you have with Naomi Bloom. And so did you know you were going to have a part 2 and a part 3, and or did it just kind of take off?
Not until I finished the first book,
Mm-hmm.
because you know how you watch a movie and you can tell when it gets to the end that it's running out of time, and you know that
Mm-hmm.
there's probably going to be a part 2.
Right, right, right.
So
Yeah.
when I got towards the end of writing the book, um, I knew that I would have a second book.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just didn't know how I would incorporate another case until I went back, because I have reread my book several times. So
Mm-hmm.
I went back through the book, then a particular part in the book allowed me to pivot from there and say, okay, this is enough to be the subject of the second book. And it's enough where the previous character from the first book wasn't fully developed. So now I can develop that character and we can delve into that character's past, their life,
Mm-hmm.
and revolve it around Naomi and then
Yeah.
develop more of Naomi's life, her personal life.
Right, right. I love that. And I saw Walter Mosley. I don't know if you read any of his books. I know people love the Easy Rawlins character
Mm.
that he has. And I think his new book is called Gray Dawn. I'm not sure, but I was like, oh, yeah, I'm trying to get him on here. We're gonna see. He a little harder to get, but we'll see. We're gonna keep trying. But I love a good detective series, so I'm definitely excited to check this book out. What advice would you give to someone who they're not sure? You know, like you mentioned, you said earlier, you didn't know if it was just your family telling you that it was good versus actually getting the opinions of the public. What advice would you give to someone who's unsure? Like, should I put this out? I don't know if my family's lying to me what they want to, but they're scared.
I would say that, like, now there's, you have beta readers. So if you want to
Mhm.
have some people to read it, because you may have a good concept and just not have it fully developed. And so maybe having beta readers to read it will allow you to see where you missed the mark. And if it's something, it can be a good idea. You just may need to develop it further,
Right,
or even take something away from it, maybe a little bit too much in the book. Sometimes you may have a book that has so much in it, it could actually be two different books. So
yeah,
have that third, fourth opinion about it. Don't
right.
strictly rely on family, um, because nowadays you have so many authors. You know, it's just so many authors out there.
Yeah.
I've read I've read a lot of different books, different genres, and some stories or some books are easier to read than others. Some have you really confused, and you
Mhm.
wonder like what's going on in the book. And it may be something, maybe they should have had a beta reader to look at
Right.
it. Um,
Yeah.
I, I try to be my hardest critic when it comes
Mhm.
to my writing, because
Right.
you have to look at yourself and look at your work and make sure that it's the best that you're putting forward if you want to put it out there for others to read.
Absolutely. And that is why I'm a perfectionist. Oh my Lord. I'm really good at academic writing, nonfiction writing, self-help, that kind of stuff. When it comes to fiction writing, for me, I am the type of writer that I want to incorporate a lot of literary devices, and that takes a lot of time, but I want to do it strategically. And I think a lot of people, like you said, because anybody can self-publish now, um Yes, and let me say my words carefully here. um yes, anyone can publish a book right now in today's time. However, I think it's important, like you said, to be mindful of what you're putting out because it is a reflection of you. So I think this is my advice. I know we're on the advice slide, so the people out there is yes. I like the beta reader advice because it's not the full public yet, but it is someone that you don't know, so they're not going to be biased to you. And it's like kind of easing your way out there. And I would definitely suggest as well. And I didn't ask you about your process with editing and all that kind of stuff, but I would highly advise you, if you're self-publishing, you need another set of eyes. Even if they're not a beta reader, you need another set of eyes on your manuscript because we miss things, we're not perfect. And ChatGPT, I highly advise against putting your manuscript in ChatGPT, because they can pull from your stuff, and that's a lot of issues and stuff right there. But definitely, investing in courses and classes, guys. As far as workshops, developing. There are actors. I saw the lady from Everybody Loves Raymond, I think it was. I saw a little clip, and she was like, every Saturday as an actor, she still went to acting class to perfect her craft. And so I think sometimes people think of like courses and classes like, oh, I don't need that. But it's just about keeping that, like exercising, so investing in your craft, being around other writers, will help you, because I do think all authors kind of, like anything else, develop and grow the longer they do it, so that would be my advice to you guys. Yeah, so I believe it is time for our trivia. Okay, so we're gonna have a little trivia time here. So this is gonna be author's edition of Would You Rather, Dr. Taylor. So we're gonna have you pick a number from 1 through 4.
Okay, I'm gonna pick number 2.
Okay, number 2. Okay, let's see what this says. So, would you rather have your favorite character betray you or have your villain fall in love with you?
I'm gonna say have my favorite character betray me, because I don't want the villain falling in love with me.
Yeah. That must be a bad villain. We got to read the book tonight. And I think so. These are generic, kind of fun little questions, but in a deeper sense, with having your character betray you, I feel like that could also look like having a plot twist that you didn't even know, what happened. Because this is such a good question. Sometimes our characters, they take on a life of their own. Like for me, my characters, it's like I said, the fact that Castillo in my book became the main character, and I'm like, okay, now I have to like do more of fleshing out his backstory and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that was an interesting question. Because you see, and your reason was you say you didn't want your villain falling in love with you. So we're gonna make an inference, guys. We're gonna make an inference and say that this must be a very bad villain, that she don't want no connection. Okay, so you had the other book cover. I don't know if you want to show it to the guests. Now we're on the future plans. So you have a new book.
So this is my second book. This
Shattered Dreams.
This is Shattered Dreams, and again, my daughter designed this book cover.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Yep. Okay, I love that. So with that book, that's already out too, right?
This one is out. This one picks up where Friendly Betrayal leaves off. And then my third book will actually be available October 1st.
Wow, that's right around the corner, guys. Yep. So where can readers stay in touch with you so that they can, follow your journey, keep up with your updates, and then you can tell us where they can find the books?
Okay, so my author website is drtaylorwrites.com. So they can follow any happenings that I have coming up. Um, my books are available on my author website as well, but they're also, and if you get it on my website, they're autographed, but they are also available on Amazon. If you're a Kindle reader, they're available on Kindle as well. If you don't like Amazon, they're available at Barnes and Noble. Um, they're out there. You can
Right.
just search the title along with my name.
Right. Well, we love that. Well, we definitely thank you for stopping by, guys. Check out Friendly Betrayal. It is out now. Shattered Dreams is out now. Follow her website for the updates for book number 3. Naomi Bloom, guys, get into her. She's a detective. We want to follow her journey. I love that you have 3 different settings in your book. I love that. Um, And you're welcome back anytime. When the third one, October 1st, comes out, after you want to get some momentum with that, if you want to come back and share with us what people are saying, that would be great. And also, guys, leave a review. Reviews are gold for authors, okay? Yeah, so we thank you so much, Dr. Taylor, for giving us a little bit of your time to share your
Thank
work with
you.
us.
Thank you
Yes,
for having
absolutely.
me.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we thank you for tuning into this episode of Author Interviews with Jazz and Prose. I'm your host, Sai, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.